I think that the message is very important, that we're in a troubling time, in a time that people need to rise up and need to make their voices be known, because things are scary right now. This might not be the exact right approach, but I think the idea behind it is correct.
At one point, officers did fire off tear gas into the crowd. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Now, those radical protesters did finally get out of here, and they're now marching with other protesters on Bancroft. Of course, we'll keep you up to date. Coming up at 10 o'clock tonight, we'll have the latest. Reporting live from Berkeley, Alicia Reed, KRON 4 News.
Thanks, Alicia, with the look on campus. And now?
Now we go to J.R. Stone, who's reporting live from the streets of Berkeley, where the crowd from the campus has marched to the city streets now. J.R.
Yeah, we are on the back side of that, Pam, and I can tell you I'm keeping my distance right now. I was actually run out of there by numerous individuals with not only weapons but masks, individuals who are with a large group that was destroying property of businesses in the area. Told me that they didn't want me nearby. I am with security, just so you know that. We left, went to the end of the block, and we'll loop around to the other side of this protest. What I can tell you is that there was a sign that was being held in the middle of this group that said, "This is war." And I can tell you, as you go through that group, so many of them have the bandanas over their faces. You know, we had heard earlier reports and we had seen what Alicia had gone through with that tear gas situation. Many of the people came out here, it appears, knowing that that could be something that they were dealing with. On this street, as we've seen the march, I've seen garbage thrown into the streets, then I've seen other people pick that up. I've also seen that same group that told me off lighting garbage cans on fire as they walked down the street. But certainly had some problems with us being there, had already chased out another camera crew as well. But we still have in the lights of 1,000 people on Telegraph. The last time I saw any officers was over in the student union area where they had those tear gas guns on the second floor, basically keeping a close eye on the situation below them. At least 3 ATMs were destroyed down the street. Now, as to any arrests or anything like that, we haven't seen that, but we are now quite a distance down the street from this area. So I want to throw it back to you two in the studio.
JR, what you cannot see is that on the screen we've got your image, which shows us Telegraph Hill and that garbage that you just described. And then on the right, we're showing previously recorded video from on campus. That's where a lot of the protests and the fire took place. A couple of questions for you. Number one, you described the ATMs at the Bank of America that were substantially destroyed. We've also heard reporting that someone out on the streets there was run over by a car or struck by a car. Don't know if you've seen anything like that or if you've seen any, person-on-person violence off campus.
I haven't seen anyone run over in this area. The group was so large and it was stretched down the street that it was really hard to make out everything going on. For a good while, we saw smoke going into the air when a lot of these individuals who had covered faces were attempting to set many of the garbage cans and some of those recycling cans on fire. At one point, a little while ago, there was some glasses that were thrown, but I didn't see anybody hit by any of those glasses as I try to move to the right side. I've just heard from individuals who were just walking up from that scene that some of those Bank of America windows are now being broken as well. But as to any injuries out here, I have not seen anybody injured by what's going down here, merely a march down the street and back up the street.
One quick question. Are you getting the sense that businesses in the area there along Telegraph are starting to shut down because of this large crowd on the street?
Many of the, and I'm just going to, as you say that question, I'm going to just move off into the distance here because it appears that what could be more fires were being set on this street. As for businesses, many of them, some of them you can see just as I pan to the right here, they are still open, but many have closed when they saw that large group. I saw one man doing what he could to put his security gates up just as quickly as possible and then leave the area. But I think a lot of these situations that we've seen with people here have not been targeting local businesses. It has been things like Bank of America. Pam?
All right, J.R. Stone reporting from the streets of Berkeley, Telegraph Avenue right there. A lot of the storytelling you've seen on your screen here tonight, also online at cron4.com, but we're also gathering information from social media, both images, pictures, and stories. Grant Lotus has an update there. Grant?
Yeah, Steve and Pam, we'll keep looking at these live aerials, and who knows what will happen next there. Meanwhile, I've been scouring Twitter and Facebook, and so many people that are out there actually marching or sharing content. I've been looking at videos and still pictures. One of the accounts, and Steve, you alluded to this in a question to JR, and I've seen multiple people talking about this, states that a group of protesters surrounded a car. The car didn't have anywhere to go, but went and hit a person who then flew onto the hood. And according to one student newspaper reporter at UC Berkeley, the guy drove off up Durant Avenue. So a disturbing account there for sure. There's been graffiti that is being sprayed as we look at video on the right. That's from earlier, so that's not happening right now. That is when the destruction was at its peak, probably between 6 and 6:30 this evening, using those metal security barricades to break windows, using bats to do the same. On the left side of our screen, just for a little perspective, that's the live picture that we'll stay with. Graffiti right outside Noah's Bagels with the words "Kill Trump" written there. And you see Berkeley police calling it help. You know, they've called in mutual aid from all over the East Bay, Alameda County Sheriff's, Oakland PD, and Berkeley police say that about 3 to 4 fights have broken out, what they're describing as fights. The exact nature, you know, of the scuffle isn't clear, but while the destruction and the violence has tempered down as the night has progressed, it has not ceased altogether.
All right, Grant Lotus, thanks so much. Lots more on Berkeley coming up throughout the night for sure.
Of course, J.R. Stone saying that there's still upwards of 1,000 people out on the streets along Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley. Not all of them are there to create problems or make any violent outbursts. Nonetheless, that's a lot of people for police to deal with and for those who live and work in that area to deal with. We'll be back after more.
Stay